Morning, everyone. Once again, like the Jews that traveled through the wilderness with a Torah, we're traveling through the wilderness from Woodside Park to Golders Green. So I want to first dedicate the learning. I hope everyone had a nice Rosh Hashanah. In some way, it was exceptionally weird for so many of us, not what we're used to, and we certainly all miss being together, but please God, in the future when it's safe to do so. So today's learning is dedicated in memory of Leah bas Fivil, Sivia bas Mordechai, Avram ben David Slavin, Shlomo ben Yisrael Morris, Eliezer Shalom ben Avram Shmuel Beres, Sipora Fegel bas Reuven Baruch, Shalom ben Elieli, Ben bas Fivil, from Rosh Hashanah bas Yaakov Shmuel, and Sarah Malka bas Binyamin, and Yirmiyahu Yechiel ben Chave Moshe Eliezer, as well as the yortzites for today. The yortzites for today are as follows. Som Gedalia, so it's Naftali Hertz ben Avram Luft, Shalom David ben Eliezer Yitzchak Leon, Gedalia ben Moshe Henech Linton, Sassoon ben Yehuda Fatal, and David ben Yehuda Robbins. We wish their respective families long life and only simchas. So we were discussing last time, good morning everyone, and a Shana Tova, happy and a healthy new year. Be interested to hear how it was for you. Well, was it because of health concerns, how people managed without being in shul? We certainly missed everyone. So it's the sixth attribute that we are dealing with about godliness is the idea of the idea of kindness. That even though that somebody, for example, may not have behaved appropriately to you, yet out of kindness you are able to see the good in them, and as a consequence, therefore, you treat them favorably, you treat them well, rather than holding that grudge and resentment. So kindness has to be distinguished from charity. Good morning, everyone. Kindness has to be distinguished from tzedakah. Does anybody know the difference between chesed, kindness, and charity tzedakah? Anyone? So the answer is that tzedakah means righteousness. It means it's doing what is correct. It means if you see somebody that needs charity, you are expected to do it. It's not a luxury. It's not an add-on. It's a necessity. Okay, so that's that. However, chesed, kindness is something which is not necessary. It is something which is an add-on. It is something which was which is of benefit to the person, but they don't need it. And I'll give you an example. Abraham was visited. The classic case of chesed is Abraham, who was visited by the angels, right? We recall that he was visited by the angels, and the angels, Abraham made food for them, right? This is the classic case in the Torah of chesed, of kindness. And he performed great acts of hospitality. Celestial beings don't have physical needs, okay? They don't have physical needs. If they don't have physical needs, then it must be that we see that chesed, kindness, is not something that's necessary. It's you want to share your love, your goodness with somebody, even when they don't need it, right? Even when they don't need it, which is astounding. So therefore, when I'm performing acts of kindness, it's not because somebody needs it or deserves it. So, for example, somebody who may not be my friend, but the fact is that I want to be godly. Godly is doing goodness, and goodness is things that I don't need to do. They're not needed, they're not required. So that's a really, really fundamental idea that we've spoken about in terms of what is chesed, right? So if you, for example, somebody asks you for money, that is not an act of chesed, that is an act of tzedakah, of righteousness, of doing the correct thing, what's just, what's correct. When it comes to chesed, it is the something that's completely redundant, and yet I still want to help you. I want to give to you, and therefore I do what I do in the way that I do it. I want to tell you one story, because we want to tell you a story about Rabbi Yisrael Salanta. We mentioned him yesterday in Shul, and Rabbi Yisrael Salanta was known for his outstanding character traits. He very much embodied all the things that we're talking about. And what's fascinating about Rabbi Yisrael Salanta is the fact that he was on a train with somebody who was coming to a town to become a shochet. Little did he know that Rabbi Yisrael Salanta was the person who was actually the rabbi of the town. He was the authority. And on the train, this man behaved rather obnoxiously. He smoked on the train. without opening windows, and he wanted the windows open when it was freezing cold, which of course Rabbi Yisrael Salanta struggled with. And anyways, so this man came, being very rude to Rabbi Yisrael Salanta. At the end of the journey, he goes to be tested, right? And he fails. He doesn't get to be a shochet. So out of audaciousness, this man decides he's going to go to Rabbi Yisrael Salanta. This is the rabbi who he spent the train journey annoying and being rather rude to, and he's going to ask for his help. And sure enough, he says, Rabbi Yisrael, you've got to help me. I failed my test. And Rabbi Yisrael, rather than holding a grudge, he went out of his way and spent hours upon hours upon hours helping a person who had wronged him, who had annoyed him, who had irritated him, who had been, anything but a friend. And that is very much the idea that we are trying to get over to everyone today. So therefore, we have to look at the person in the round. We have to look at the totality of a person and say, I can see some goodness there. Focus on the commonality or the goodness that we see, rather than the finding fault with everyone. You'll always be able to find fault with other people. And the greatness in us is that we are able to overlook those differences and focus on the goodness, the kindness, the commonality. And in that way, we will be the embodiment of that virtue, that God is somebody who desires kindness. Okay, we're going to stop there for today. So we carry on now with Psalm 23. Okay. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He causes me to lie down in green pastures. He restores my soul. He leads me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Even when I walk in the valley of darkness, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. You have set a table before me in the presence of my adversaries. You anointed my head with oil, my cup overflows. May only goodness and kindness pursue me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord for the length of days. You may notice someone is popping up their head in the back. As you can see, in Slichot, we're running slightly late. Okay, so lastly, we do the memorial prayer and the Refuah Shalema prayer. First memorial prayer. Adon Olamim Zachares Nishmais. Naftali Hertz ben Avram Luft, Shalom David ben Eliezer Yitzchak Leon, Gedalia ben Moshe Henech Linton, Sasson ben Yehuda Fato, David ben Yehuda Robbins, Leah Bas 502, Bas Mordechai, Avram ben David Slavin, Shlomo ben Yisrael Morris, Eliezer Shalom ben Avon Shmuel Beret, Zipporah Fagel Bas Ruven Baruch, Shalom ben Eli ben Bas 5 from Moshe Shana Bas Yaakov Shmuel, Sarah Malka Bas Binyamin, Yirmiyahu Chiel, Ben Achav Moshe Eliezer Shalchu Li'olamam, Began Eden Teimenu Chasam Lachin Barachamim, Yasirein B'Seisa Kanafav Li'olamim, V'Yisrael B'Sachayim Tishmasam Adonai Nachlasam, V'Yanuchu B'Shlom Shkavam, and Amar Amen. And now Refuah Shlema, Misha Berach Avaseinu Rabban Yitzchak Yaakov Moshe Aaron David Shlomo Yivarech Reb Pesachayim. Bavo Shani Mispalim Bavo Ram Mitzchak Zakadosh Baruch Hu Yimalei Rachim Aleichem Lachem Alof Asam Vishlach Nem Refuah Shlema Neshamaim Lechol Reim B'Soch Shachal Yisrael Refuah Sanefesh Refuah Saguf Hashtabach Zman Kariv and Amar Amen. Wish long life to all those that have Yod Site today, or those that are saying Kaddish. Wish Refuah Shlema to all those that are unwell. And please God, we look forward to continuing our learning throughout the week. Wishing you all well. Have a great day. Keep safe. Keep well.